Hello and welcome to Disco Corner. This will be our last Disco Corner for probably only a week, but this is the show where we look at season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and as the week just gone brought the final for the season, this would be the last time we are discussing Discovery for now, maybe ever. No, it's going back for season 4, but
Yeah, totally coming back for season 4. Although could be significantly different, but we'll get into that later. So does that mean we're calling this show from now on Disco Corner?
no, sorry, I gave it the show the wrong name again. It's Disco Dex.
Well, no, I meant obviously when we move on to something else, Trek.
It remains
So I believe
Disco Dex.
it's going to remain Disco Dex. I
Yeah.
quite like that. Yeah, we'll keep that.
But, you know,
Good
the next thing we'll be
executive
discussing
decision
is
then.
Lower Decks, so Disco Dex still works.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, fair play. We'll stick with Disco Dex.
Maybe when we come to discussing the second season of Picard, we can replace the disco ball with a shiny Picard head.
Maybe, or potentially I'll just actually do some artwork for it rather than being lazy like I have done.
No, I like the disco ball.
I mean, I like the disco ball, but I have other ideas, so I'll do some.
Do you know what Discovery doesn't have?
Go on.
It don't seem to have a holodeck.
Well, it didn't. It wouldn't have done.
No, it wouldn't have done. But
in a retrofit. Yeah, in a retrofit, possibly. Yeah. Although maybe it's a time of military, like
maybe they're not using holodecks for leisure.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that it's for training purposes only.
Yeah,
at Starfleet headquarters.
That's a shame. I'd love a good holodeck episode of a disco crew.
Well, I mean, spoilers for later in this very episode, but I mean, a certain character that seems to manage to have a physical form in a giant holosuite, quite possibly.
Saying it's been a holodeck episode, arguably the past
the last
past couple
three
of episodes have all been a big
one big
holodeck episode.
So I mean, they're obviously going to lead to like them playing with some holotechnology in season 4, so that that character can exist, and that they can be seen. So, I mean, obviously,
you could do something similar to the emergency medical.
Yeah, the mobile one that the Doctor had. Yeah. Very true. Very true. So, I mean, there's plenty of technology. Obviously, the big thing is that it's not necessarily a case of creating the physicality. It's more of a case of actually the scanners being able to be aware that that entity is there. Because obviously, it seems that Discovery isn't capable of knowing, or maybe the sphere data is, but she's keeping quiet. But the Discovery sensors can't see that character's there. But for some reason, the holosuite on the dilithium planet could. So
yeah.
But then that could be part of Discovery's retrofit that hasn't quite happened yet. It could be that the sensors aren't quite up to grade.
Been scanning for him.
Correct. There is that. There's certainly that. I think.
Spoilers for the episode going forward. It is the title of the episode is part 2 of the title of the first episode of the season,
which I can't remember, and in typical fashion,
Matt keeps you entertained while I find out.
Yep. I mean, it wouldn't be a bear in mind show if we didn't have to look something up while actually doing the show, rather than doing our even just the cursory preparation of pre-opening a window on the computers. James has 3 screens he's looking at currently, so plus the phone, and there's probably a tablet around somewhere as well. Like there must be space for an IMDb page or something, but no.
It needs prep.
Yeah.
It's called That Hope Is You Part Two
Fair enough then. Um,
because
yeah,
I like that they've done this because the first episode was released as That Hope Is You Part One, and then the second episode came out, and we were all like, "What happened to Part Two? Have they just decided halfway through to just not bother?"
yeah,
But no, it was the title of this
yeah.
last
It was a
episode,
a bookend. Yeah.
which I like the idea of.
Well, I mean, they've played around with um, strange naming structures in this series already. Like, obviously, they've had Unification Part 3, which is a reference to 2 TNG episodes. So, yeah.
Fundamentally, I think that is what this season's all been about, right? Hope.
And unification.
Yeah, in the dark times.
So it's and it certainly it paid off. I mean, the welling up of emotion I had at the end of this episode. I
Even
did.
throughout, like when they realise Navarre has come to help, like the Vulcans
That gives you a little punch, doesn't it? Yeah,
have come to, like, because of what Discovery had already done. And it is a little bit what I said, how the spread of Discovery is like a virus of hope throughout the galaxy, right? The planets it's gone to and helped because it's still, because they're true believers.
Yeah.
Even last episode, the Admiral, when discussing with Osira, talks about how maybe he'd stopped believing, but seeing Discovery and what it can do, he believes in the Federation.
Yeah.
Again, outside of it being the rote routine of his job. When the gentleman from the, like, relay station in the first episode shows up again at the
Oh
end.
God, I nearly that nearly broke me.
Like, he's always wanted to be part of the Federation, and now he truly,
as a lieutenant, has a proper rank as well. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was just another brilliantly executed episode. I think
this episode splits between two groups. We carry on with the story of Saru and you and Adira
on the dilithium planet,
trying to rescue Sokovia.
Something like that. We really should prep.
Yeah.
We'll call him the child.
Yeah.
But yeah, so continuing to try and rescue the child, and while also rescuing themselves, because of course the radiation poisoning is fully taken effect at this point. Their flesh is beginning to blister and pop. Adira turns up in this episode with some radiation sickness tablets or medicine or whatever.
Her partner, who only she can see previously, has now got physical form here.
Yeah, in somehow the holosuite that they're in has recognised that there is actually an entity there, that it isn't just within Adira's head.
Yeah.
And so the said entity now has a physical form within the holosuite. Romulan, I think, from the look. I don't think it was Vulcan. There was a slightly too.
I think that was partly just obviously it doing
what it's been doing. Yeah. Because obviously the character.
What was Adira?
I don't know. I do know. I have seen the species before, but I can't put my finger on it.
I kind of want to say I've seen it in Star Trek Beyond.
I can't remember where I've seen it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, it might have been in Star Trek Beyond. Yeah.
You had a really nice moment between them two and you when they have to
Hmm.
turn off the hologram and he
Yeah.
doesn't want to go.
Mm.
And you obviously promises that they'll figure out a way to save him.
Yeah.
I
Which
love you.
obviously.
You,
Mm.
you is out of all the Discovery crew, you is the emotionally mature one, isn't he? He's the
He
one
is.
who actually,
He is, and for the he'd have every right to be the completely irrational one, being the fact that he has quite literally died and some mushrooms have forced him back to life.
yeah,
Like, that he could be the most like fragile of the lot, and yet, yeah, just you see, I think because obviously he and Stamets have taken on the dad roles for Adira,
and in
and
many,
I think the thing is that like for Hugh, it seems to be a natural role, like the
yeah,
character that like Hugh is a dad, whereas for Stamets, he's one of those people that needs to be a dad so that he can finally be a grown up.
yes,
Um,
and
so
with you, a lot can be said that there's a lot of this season that's Yu's season.
I get you,
He
like,
has a lot of moments this year.
which is again justifiably so because I think that like in the first season, as much as he was the doctor, like the ship's doctor, he was more Stamets' boyfriend or
Yeah,
Stamets' husband. Um, and as far as a character goes, and then obviously in the second one you have the whole like, oh shit, he's dead arc, followed by him coming back to life. But it's an important story, but he doesn't necessarily get to do a lot.
yeah,
So this one, the character gets to be fleshed out, but in a not so obvious way. Like as you say, very much the emotionally grounded character that feels all the emotions but knows how to deal with it. And yeah, does a great
instead
job
of
with it.
instead of Michael's
Mm.
all that logic, not emotion, as she screams at someone for the.
Yeah, as she like sets someone on fire or something. Yeah, this is
Oh,
logical. Actually, no. I mean, it would be a whisper scream. This is logical.
that said, it's
Yeah,
been a good season for Michael as well.
but yeah. I mean, like again, spoilers. At the end of the episode, Michael gets promoted to captain.
Yes,
Um,
because Saru has decided he wants to,
have a sabbatical
yes, go with a
on
child to
Kaminar.
Kaminar. Yeah,
Kaminar was bloody beautiful in that
it was. Yeah,
final scene there, wasn't it? It felt very much,
Kaminar's come a long way since.
yeah, because there was
Uh,
a wonderful city there, but it almost felt like if Endor had technology,
yes,
um, like if you know what I mean, like
yeah.
um,
The moment Saru turns back into Saru,
mm,
as the child kind of turns around and sees the Kelpian for the first
that was
time in.
beautifully done. Like I knew what they were doing. Like obviously you could spot, you knew exactly what was going to happen,
Yeah,
and I was actually thinking to myself as the camera was still on the child's face, like, how is this going to hit? Because I know it's in 3 or 4 seconds. Like
yeah,
in 3 or 4 seconds time, this is gonna like we're gonna get the reveal. How is this gonna hit? Like because it's one of those moments that it is very easy to get wrong and just be a little underwhelming. But if they get it right, then it'll really just go like and hit you hard. And they got it right. I mean, they really did get it right. Like this was, I think, this whole season, but this episode in particular was an absolute masterclass in television. Um, it was, I mean, this not just Star Trek, but this was TV at its very best. Um,
we got some great action scenes from Michael
yep.
as she's trying to take the ship back. So at this
Mm,
point, Osira's taken Discovery and escaped. You see the
Um,
medical, the doctor that she's fond of
mm,
finally gives up on her
mm-hmm,
as he sees her kind of true. It's what Stamets said last week, right?
mm.
She might be more than she seems, but she's definitely exactly what
Yeah, she's also
seems to
exactly what
be.
she seems. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he comes to that conclusion, and I like that he's with him at the end.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he's a an ongoing character.
Yeah,
Like he'll certainly be part of bringing Adira's boyfriend into physical existence
yeah,
with his technological thing. He, I mean, like Book's species quite obviously are going to be the navigators of the Starfleet fleet of
spore drives. But
spore
they also have
drives.
dilithium again now.
They do have dilithium again, but I think that like we're gonna see. I think
Yes,
this will
because
be
the
where.
reason the spore drive was shut down in the past is it was unethical.
Yeah.
While Stamets willingly modified himself
Mm,
due to the laws around because
mm,
of Khan,
yeah.
modifying people is illegal.
Yeah. And justifiably so. Like,
But
um,
obviously, uh, book species can naturally do it.
because they are empathic, but it's a type of empathic ability that it isn't like say with Beta Zeds where
Yeah,
they are reading minds. They actually have some sort of it's a more intrinsic link
uh,
with whatever they're
they're space
communicating with.
druids
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
in the D&D sense of the term druid.
Mm. So we could end up seeing Star Trek going down a bit of a Dune style
Yeah,
story in the future, where there are specific navigator class of people who, in theory, hold all the power, as in Dune. So, like that could be a future storyline. I think it probably will be, to be perfectly honest. Um,
we mentioned before we started recording, but there was a fight through the turbo lifts.
mm. Now, this I
It was
imagine is
visually
where.
stunning.
Oh, visually very, very stunning. But I can imagine in some Reddit threads somewhere there is some absolute neckbeards just getting furious, absolutely furious at this particular sequence because of the how bloody vast those turbo
How
lift
illogical the
shafts are.
layout is.
How incredibly illogical. But I think we came up with a bit of a hypothesis on how that works in our pre-episode chat. That with the retrofit that the Discovery had, potentially, so the engineers can see where all the turbo lifts are so that they can see what's going on and study it as a whole if there's something going wrong and it needs fixing. That all of the internal decks, so bedrooms, offices, science labs, etc., are all cloaked on the inside, which means that you would see the entirety of Discovery from the inside when you're in the perspective of being inside the turbolift shaft. Of course, this could be all nonsense, but in my own head, that that stopped me from being a neckbeard last night while I was watching Disco, and it was the one little bit that could have taken me out of the episode, but
With that, we got a one-on-one fight with Sarah and
and
Michael,
Michael, yeah,
which I
that was a
saw
cracker.
one of the many god awful websites out there was like, "Oh, Star Trek Discovery does Star Trek meme, not does Simpsons meme." I was like, "What?"
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, I
they
get
push
you.
her
Yeah,
in and she comes
yeah,
back
yeah.
out. It's like
Mm,
I'm pretty sure they're not referencing a Simpsons
mm.
meme there.
No, I don't think they are. No, I mean, if anything, I was reading actually a little bit more Superman 3.
Uh,
when the various characters get pulled into the computer, which was I think meant to be. Oh God, what's the living computer thing in Superman?
Brainiac.
Brainiac, yeah. I think they never pulled the plug on actually calling it Brainiac, but I believe that character was actually meant to be Brainiac in Superman 3.
Tilly leads a bridge crew on a suicide mission.
Yep. Brilliant, absolutely wonderful, and again fleshed out
is.
another character just a little bit, just enough.
Yeah.
Gave them a touch more backstory. Again, can't remember the character's name because we're awful at prep. But
they're all willingly following Tilly to what they all assume is their death.
But then they also know that they're serving a purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, it isn't necessarily just following Tilly, but it's they.
Following
it
do what needs to be done for the Federation, isn't it?
Yeah, for the greater good. Not even just for the Federation, but for the galaxy as a whole.
Yeah.
That they know that if the Federation falls, then everything will fall. So they're willing to sacrifice, which obviously they've already done. I mean, they've travelled 900 years into the future. They've done some quite serious stuff at this point.
Here's the interesting thing. The Sphere Data sacrifices itself. I read it that you might not have read it that way. But from what I gathered, the Sphere Data is only in these little robots at this point. It's been purged out of the ship's computer.
It'll be somewhere.
Well, it is. They brought the robot back.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
true.
I read
The
Sphere Data chose to sacrifice itself to save.
Yeah.
To save the crewmen.
But then at that point, the Sphere Data has become like sentient again. So it probably has like also realized the importance of the crew and the importance of what they're doing. And therefore, like the Sphere Data itself is a member of the crew.
Yeah.
So it's probably thought, right, I need to pull my weight as well for the greater good.
That moment when it shows up and it starts dragging her out really got me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was brilliant. So, but I mean, the thing is that like, obviously with something like that, there's always a way of like writing it round and things like that. Like they could have quite easily saved the Sphere Data or something else.
Thankfully, Michael rebooted the systems in time, and everyone survived.
Correct. Yeah. And then at the end of it, it felt very much like it did feel like the end of Return of the Jedi in a way.
Yeah.
The closing sequence where like everyone was celebrating, everyone was happy. You got the little bit of this and the little bit of that, and let's fly.
There's still a hint that there's going to be issues between Michael and Stamets.
As there should be.
Yeah, because there was that moment where she walks in and Stamets shoots her the look that he's not ready to let go of what she did yet.
Yeah. But I mean, again, she needs to have that something pushing back on it, because if anything that these 3 seasons have shown is that she needs someone.
Michael is an
unchecked Michael is a dangerous Michael. But then it looks like Book is going to stay. So she's got him to.
Tilly, I think, has gained the confidence to call her.
Oh yeah.
Out.
I mean, I have no doubt that Tilly will. Tilly has the confidence and the ruthlessness to give her a quick phaser blast to the leg and put her in the brig if she needs it. Like it's.
I think that's what makes that early scene even more important. When Stu asks, "What should he do about Michael?"
Yeah,
and she's like, "Report her to the Admiral."
Definitely. And obviously, like Tilly's got the support of the crew, so the thing is that like Michael has to behave now, because like essentially all she's ever done, apart from in this particular instance, has let the crew down in various different ways, like different degrees, obviously. It's like save the day, but like, whereas like
And this comes
all,
down to that needing drama,
yeah,
right? Because we're
yeah,
because Star Trek is more of a character drama now. You need
mm,
to create that level of
mm.
drama.
I did, I did see a slightly clickbaity headline last night, maybe, that Star Trek has made Michael Burnham the new Kirk, and it is a bit clickbaity, but like at the same time, she is quite a rogue, like in the way that Kirk was.
Anything wrong with having Michael Burnham as the new Kirk?
Yeah, no, I mean, like again, at the time it felt a bit clickbaity, but I think actually she probably does fit that
Yeah.
um that what you call it, that character type, I suppose. Um,
What she said
and
to
especially as the other main show is going to be Picard, where like yes, he's an old man rebel at the moment, but he's still Picard.
well, Picard is a
Um,
statesman. It always has been.
yeah, and then you've got Anson Mount's Pike coming up
Which
as
should in
well.
theory be a very traditional.
A very traditional show with a
Yeah.
very traditional captain. Um, I'm hoping that they managed to get a couple of seasons out of that, so you can see him handing the ship off to Kirk.
In theory, we could get the full final Pike
Mm,
4-year mission.
yeah. So, well, I mean, he only had a 5-year mission. He didn't get a double run on it.
Because
No,
he's
it's
completed one. Well, he's already completed the 5-year mission.
oh, maybe he did, yeah. Yeah, maybe he did.
Because
Yeah, we
where
could.
Disco
Yeah.
starts is at
Mm.
the end of a 5-year mission.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Unless, of course, they're getting rid from the canon of Robert April, the
I think
first.
it's 5 years under April, 10 years
Yeah,
under Pike,
yeah, and then it's 15, 20 something years under
under
Kirk,
Kirk, yeah,
essentially. Yeah,
over
yeah,
the length of.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, it'd be nice to see that. Because obviously then you get to see Spock greet
Kirk.
whoever they cast. Yeah, whoever they cast as Kirk.
I wouldn't cast anyone. I'd have.
I mean, it could just be the back of a head. That's all it really is. Like,
You could end, and I know this would annoy a lot of people,
mm,
but how I'd end Strange New Worlds, and hey, we're talking about this before the show's even started, but
mm,
is you have all the goodbyes of Pike and Number
mm,
One.
yeah,
You have Spock deciding to stay
yeah,
aboard, and he's
mm,
been promoted to first officer now
mm,
as well. So you have him walk to the turbo lift, no, to like the teleport bay
yeah,
as Michael's speech from the end of season 2 of Disco
mm,
plays through his head
yeah,
about finding friends effectively.
yeah,
You have the Energize come in,
mm.
show
And
ends.
then,
You don't cast Kirk, you just end on.
oh
Now,
yeah, yeah, I get
with
you.
digital
Yeah,
wizardry, you could
mm.
probably have Shatner appear in the.
I mean, I would have potentially had it that it would have been that you'd have just followed the back of Shatner. Well, not Shatner, but the back of Kirk coming through
Works as
the
well.
like, and then through the door onto the bridge, and then you just hear Spock say "Captain on the bridge," and then
That works just as well, to be fair.
yeah, and then leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. It could be a 4-year thing for Brave New Worlds or
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. Yeah, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, so the shows we've got now are Discovery,
mm,
Picard,
yeah,
Lower
Strange New Worlds,
Decks.
Lower Decks. Yeah,
Then we've got Strange New Worlds coming,
mm.
and we've got
Which
the
seems, I
Nickelodeon.
think that's the next live action one, because I think most of it's shot,
Potentially, yeah.
and I think they managed to sneak the majority of what need to be finished during the pandemic. So
Yeah. And then
yeah,
we've got the Nickelodeon cartoon as well.
Mm.
which is about a bunch of teenagers joyriding in a ship.
That'd be a laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
I like the idea. We've even got like I like that Lower Decks is set just before Picard's era,
Mm.
but after TNG era. So you're seeing
Wait, it's after the isn't it after the films?
yes,
Yeah. So is it on the Enterprise E then?
oh no.
I thought
Lower
it was.
Decks is on a it's on a ship that no one cares about.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
All right, fair
it's
enough.
very much
All right.
like they've purposely designed the ship as well to look like when Star Trek's doing a battle scene
Mm.
and they needed lots of ships.
Mm.
So the designers would just kit bash
Oh yeah.
ships out of old ships.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll take a saucer of an Intrepid and super glue it
Yeah.
onto the back
Yeah.
of this one.
Mm.
Well, there's a ship you see a lot in DS9, which is an Intrepid saucer glued to a Maquis ship.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
it's their ship is very much designed
One of those.
to look like one of those.
So it's not
So
only lower decks; it's also like the lower class, lower ship, lower like.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you have to take a turbo lift through the pylon mounts
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah.
the lower decks because the bridge hull is not remotely attached to the engineering.
It's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. One of those weird ones. Yeah. Yeah. I get you.
and it's thrown in contrast because you see a new fancy ship in one of the
Mm.
episodes
Yeah.
that they're all jealous of, and that's
Mm.
like a beautifully designed
Yeah.
piece of it's a new class we've not seen before,
Mm.
but it's really nice looking ship compared to the California class that they
That they're on.
yeah
Fair enough. Well, we are in our Star Trek watch through. We're into Deep Space Nine now.
yeah
The wife has found a nerdy site that has logged all of the star dates. Whereas I was quite happy to just go finish season 6 of TNG, watch season 1 of DS9, season 7 of TNG, and so on. She's decided exact order that we should be watching these
that's
things
too
in.
much, man.
It is a little bit too much, yeah, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, to be honest, because we got it ever so slightly wrong, we have just watched the whole of DS9 season 1, which is
Yeah,
only like 19 episodes as well.
I still love
Um,
Q episode.
yes, yeah, it was good. Yeah,
I just love it is Picard never punched me. I'm not
mm,
Picard.
yeah. But we got so we're into season 2 now, which opens with a three-parter. Like, so that was I think it was probably the benefit of being the second show still at the time, because
Yeah,
obviously TNG was still on, and I think DS9 for the first two seasons, only has like 19 episodes because it starts after Christmas, I think. So it
yeah.
was like after the mid-season break. So it was really only a half
I
season
think
in a way.
DS9 is the show I've seen the least of.
Yeah.
I know that's weird because DS9 is meant to be the best, but yeah, I think because I've still never watched Star Trek. Kind of outside of TNG, which I rewatched a bit
Mm.
ago, my Star Trek experience is still just a lot of randomly placed episodes. Occasionally,
I'm
episodes that followed on, but not always.
I'm not sure that DS9 is the best. I think there was a point where I probably did think DS9 was the best. But I think, again, having done this rewatch,
Isn't it the latter
um,
seasons of DS9 that become excellent, though?
oh yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it isn't. Like, I mean, the thing is that like season 1 and season 2 so far are not bad. They're really not bad at all. They're as good as anything
Yeah,
else. And yes, in the latter seasons it becomes incredible. Um, but I think that we often forget actually quite how good the older stuff is. So whether that be the Kirk stuff or even TNG,
Yeah.
like TNG is like, even though TNG doesn't have the overarching storyline that DS9 does or that Voyager does, obviously Voyager's got that payoff at the end if they make it home. Spoilers. And DS9's all about like the Dominion War, and there's a very
Yeah.
focused point of DS9. TNG doesn't really have that, other than like there's always that looming threat of the Borg, but it really, like, the Borg don't necessarily get their payoff until the films, in a way, like
Well,
um
or an argument can be made in Voyager.
or Voyager, yeah. So you've got like, there isn't the overarching thing that glues all of it together with
Because
TNG, but
it's Voyager that
there
introduces the
is
Borg Queen, isn't it?
no, I think she returns in that.
I thought she's in First Contact, but
Hmm,
it's Voyager where she was introduced.
I can't remember. I'll tell you when I get there, which probably won't be that long now with how fast we're
I'm on an island with the
getting
idea
through
of
it.
doing something not quite as religiously as you've been doing, but I've been
Hmm.
on an island with doing something similar myself. Maybe when I'm
I
done with
mean,
my Star Wars rewatch.
again, you don't have to do it quite like as maniacal as finding some nerd site that's like plotted all the star
Or I
dates,
would just
but
do all
like,
7 seasons of
mm,
TNG, then 7 seasons of DS9.
mm, um, I've actually really enjoyed it. Like, um, so I mean, obviously we've done it in Enterprise, followed by, I mean, if you're going to be really strict, you do the Cage.
Yeah.
Then you do
Well, The Cage is
Disco
the
One.
first episode of the original series, anyway.
No, you see, because you do Enterprise, followed
Oh,
by
Cage,
Cage,
Disco.
then Disco season 1 and 2, and then you do Toss, cartoon, TNG. No, sorry, the films, TNG, Disco, Voyager, Picard. No, Disco, Voyager, Lower Decks, Picard, and then Disco season 3. If you're going to be really anal, episode 3 of the original series, you move to episode 1 because it's actually the
Uh,
second pilot. So it is
Well,
set. It's set
bring us
nearly a
slightly,
year before. So yes, we've gone off topic, but
yeah,
then
bring us back on. So yeah, we end season 3 with Captain Michael Burnham of the USS Discovery.
and her new,
It was very nice seeing her walk onto the bridge. The
it
close
was
up
it
of
of
the
the new
captain's pins
and the new uniform for
and the
everyone.
new uniforms. Yeah, the new uniforms are
Yeah,
nice. I
I
know we've
quite
seen them
like
on
them.
other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, but I think there's more emphasis now because it's on them.
Yeah,
Um, and
and
yeah,
we get Tilly call captain on deck
yeah,
or on the bridge. I can't.
yeah. Captain of the Bridge. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
which implies she is still the first officer.
Yes, as she should be.
Yep,
So yeah,
and
excellent
yeah, she takes
episode.
a seat. And
Yeah,
we had the running joke in an earlier episode of Saru trying to come up with his
engage or
catchphrase.
make it so,
Yeah,
or yeah,
and it ends with Burnham saying, "Let's fly."
yeah.
And as
Which,
well as the Federation is
mm,
beating again,
yes,
as in it's a living. The Trill have rejoined. They're
hmm,
in talks with Navarre.
yeah.
They
They're
are,
they're distributing dilithium to Federation and non-Federation planets.
yep. It's even, I think, said that with Osira gone,
Mm,
the Emerald Chain is even starting to,
to come into line.
which argues that even her death, she potentially got a bit of what she
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah. The unification. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that was Discovery season 3.
Overall, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it multiple times in this run. This was Star Trek at its very best.
I think this
I
is a
think,
season that the lingering issues I had with Discovery
mm,
this is a season where I think I learnt they were a me problem more than a
Mm,
Discovery problem,
yeah,
and I've kind of just left them behind. Like Discovery is what Discovery is,
yeah,
and that's fine.
yeah.
It's very
I think
good at
this.
what it is.
I think obviously again, like I mean, I remember DS9 being having its issues. Like people go, "Oh, this isn't." And like TNG had its issue. Oh, it's not Kirk, is it? It's not, you know. And then Voyager had its issues, and Enterprise had its issues, and like for the most part, like it takes a while to get into it. And of course, like unlike those where they had 20 plus episodes a season, that especially in the TNG era, they were like 52 minutes long because it was when American TV wasn't like 75% adverts with a little bit of TV to
Yeah,
interrupt the adverts. Like, um, like you get in a solid 19, 20 hours worth of TV out of a season of TNG, whereas obviously this, they've got like 13 episodes max per
yeah.
season to tell a story. So like, even at the end of season 3 of Disco, they really only like 1.5 seasons in when you think of it in old
Episodes are
Star Trek
longer.
money.
Some episodes breach the hour mark.
They do, but I mean, it's still like at most they're going to be knocking on the 40-hour mark. So
Yeah,
like you could argue they're maybe 2 seasons into an old school season of Star Trek. So like there's plenty of legs left, and I think the pacing actually has been fantastic. And again, it paid off. Like the feeling, like the emotions that they actually managed to get out of you in this final episode.
yeah.
They like the some master craftsmen at work making this show. Picard has a lot to live up to when it returns, and so does Strange New Worlds. But we'll cover that in a later episode. As James said, we're going to take a week or so off from this particular show. Double Feature Film Club is still going.
Yeah,
Um,
and this will be
and
coming back for a review of Lower Decks as it hits the UK.
Yep. Um,
I'm not sure how it's
and
hitting the UK yet, whether it's going to be weekly or a
how long are the episodes?
20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My thought is, if it is a weekly show,
Yeah.
we'll review an episode a week.
Yep.
If it's all dumped at once, we'll do
We'll break it up a little bit.
two
Yeah.
episodes an
Yeah.
episode,
Yep.
and yeah,
Mm. Cool. On that note, live long and prosper, everyone.
aye,
Like and subscribe. And nice, you got it this week.
yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.